You've heard me say it before, and I will say it again. Your website is the best asset that you have online, and keeping it humming and moving along is really important. Just like you would maintain your car, you need to maintain your website. So in this episode of our Fast Fact Friday, I'm going to be giving you some quick things that you should think about when it comes to monthly maintenance on your website. This is Sammy, host of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast, and thank you so much for joining me for this quick episode. This episode is also brought to you by our monthly maintenance website checklist, which you can download if you head on over to the show notes at thefirstclick.net/44. This checklist will give you everything that you need to do on a monthly basis, and I'm excited to walk through some of those things with you and make sure that your website stays up and running so that your customers can continue to find you and make purchases and keep moving in that sales funnel with you. So let's get to it. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern, and each week I bring you tips from myself and other experts, as well as hot seats with small business owners and entrepreneurs to demystify digital marketing and get you on your way to generating more leads and growing your business. Managing your website and making sure it's maintained will really make sure that it is up and relevant and present and has some of the most up-to-date information. And if you just put this at the top of your list once a month, just book it in your calendar, it won't take you a long time to pull it together, because if you're maintaining it on a regular basis, it's much easier to fix the things that might come up. And so there's a lot of things that we have on our monthly maintenance checklist that you can check out in the show notes for this episode. But a couple of things that I really want to touch on where it doesn't matter if you're on whatever platform, right? So we do have some WordPress specific things in there, but even if you're not on WordPress, I want to go through some of those things. If you have an events page, it was great to review your events page for accuracy. That's one of the things that we tend to forget to update. And so making sure that you have all of the information there for people to navigate through is going to be super important. Because remember, when they're coming to your website, they want to see consistency. They want to see that things are being updated on a regular basis. They want to see that you still exist. At the same time, monthly, we like to review our call to action for timeliness. So you might have an event that you ran that now you have a call to action at the top of your website, or maybe it's a special that you were running on one of your online courses or programs or products. So you want to make sure on a monthly basis that that is updated for what you want people to understand right away. On a monthly basis, I also love to check for broken links. And we have a link in that PDF. It's the brokenlinkchecker.com, just to make sure that people aren't going to get lost somewhere and not be able to find the information they need. Nobody wants that. And then along with that, if you have a Google Search Console account, which I highly recommend, hopping in there at least once a month to see if there are any issues, because that's going to be important for your SEO. If Google sees a bunch of issues with your website, you're probably not going to be ranking as high as you could be if you had all of those issues resolved. Now, when it comes to my analytics, I also like to take a look at a monthly basis just to see, are people still coming from the locations and areas that make sense for my business and my business goals? Where are my referrals coming from? So are they coming mostly from Facebook? Are they coming mostly from other people's websites? Like where is most of my traffic coming from? That will help me make decisions as I go to really understand what outlets are going to give me the biggest bang for my buck and time, and where do I want to continue to focus my efforts. I also want to see what pages they're landing on so that I can understand if my marketing efforts have made sense. So if I'm in a launch, then I would expect to see those landing pages and thank you pages be a little bit higher up on the ranking. If I am pushing out content on a regular basis, which content that month was the most impactful for my audience, et cetera, et cetera. It's just important to really understand, kind of a little bit on a very basic level as far as where your audience is spending time on your website and where they're coming from, so that you can make better decisions about how you produce things and what you're doing in the months to come. And then I also like to every month really pull together kind of what my content is. So as I go, as I start planning my year, I kind of have content themes, but then on a monthly basis, I like to really sit down and line out, okay, these are the exact topics that I'm going to be talking about on my podcast. What has changed in the industry? What maybe do I need to be paying attention to? What have I learned from my analytics as far as what people like to see and hear, and how we can do more of that and continue to move things in line with our business goals and our launch calendar. So on a monthly basis, I'll determine the topics that I'm going to be utilizing, and I'm probably going to batch my content. So for example, today I am pulling together for my podcast editor about 4 or 5 episodes that he can go through and pull together, which actually only gets us through a couple weeks since we go every 2 weeks, but really planning out everything that needs to get done in order to support this so that it is a priority and that we put out high quality content. So there's a couple other things in that checklist, so definitely make sure you download that and check it out at thefirstclick.net/podcast. I think you'll find a lot of value in it, and I want you to make sure your website is up and running all the time so that customers can find you and they can buy from you, because that's ultimately what we are in business for. If you have any questions, head on over to our private Facebook community. You can just search for The First Click on Facebook and share those questions there. I'd love to answer them for you, or just leave us a comment in the podcast show notes. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this Fast Fact Friday episode of the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast, and I hope you'll subscribe wherever you listen, and look forward to seeing you in the next one.